Hi, I'm Bob Errey, two-time Stanley Cup champ. You're watching the Power Play Break, the place to talk about pucks.
Back here on the Power Play Break with Bob Errey. Okay, you get taken 15th overall in the NHL draft in 1983. Did you know anything about Pittsburgh? Did you know anything about the Penguins? I mean, they were in financial distress at that point too. They're having a lot of problems at that point.
Again?
It seems like a theme at the But what did you know about Pittsburgh? I mean, who's your coach there at that point? And a lot of probably veterans on that team.
A lot of veterans. Randy Carlisle, my first captain, Lou Angotti, who had a twitch, doing all this thing all the time. We were so bad in my first year. Mike Bullard, big scorer. Pittsburgh, Steel, right? That's all I knew. It's like Hamilton. And what's it like? People would tell me, it's like Hamilton. So I don't know. I would go down to Pittsburgh, and first thing I remember is going down through, and everybody who does this remembers it, go through that tunnel, and then the city just opens up, and I get goosebumps thinking about it to this day, and I still enjoy that view. Every time I go down and broadcast the games, it's just it's an incredible view. But it was nothing like I expected. There wasn't smokestacks and all that stuff. And it was just, even at that point, it was starting to clean up pretty good, and it's obviously maybe one of the number 1 or 2 cities that gets voted every year to live. Just a great place, great people, kind of a small town.
Much
city.
like Peterborough.
Yeah, which was awesome, which was great for me. But yeah, there was a lot of older players there. The team was struggling, and I think there was a lot maybe I put on my shoulders. Not so much them, I don't think, but I certainly wasn't going to be a savior for that franchise. I'm just wasn't going to be that player.
You're the #1 draft choice.
Yeah.
The guys razz you on the team, the veterans. Oh, you're the #1. You're the bonus baby. You're the rookie. You've got all the big bucks. That kind of a thing. Or were they kind of
a
more?
little bit. There was a couple of good guys. Ricky was fantastic. Right from day one, kind of taking you under his wing. That silent kind of leader, went on to realize that great character guy. There was other guys that wanted to take you down, didn't want you to take their job, keep you maybe at the bar too long, would try to put you down or threaten you in different ways. It's kind of sad when I think about it, and as I look back at that team, I kind of realized why it only won 16 games, because there was quite a few followers on that team, and as a 19-year-old, you really don't know which direction to go, so you kind of follow down that path a little bit, and eventually, you have to look inside yourself and change your ways and be a little stronger. And glad I was able to do that.
First game, what was it like for you? Nerves?
In St. Louis, yeah.
Nerves?
They're nerves.
Mom and Dad come?
No.
No? Not like today when they bring everybody into town?
No, couldn't afford that. So we went to St. Louis, and it was unbelievable, that big checker dome, and the music there, and the Budweiser music, dun, 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 all that kind of stuff, and I was all fired up, and I was a goal scorer, so I got to play the power play back then. not in the big years with Mario and Stevens and company, but I was on the power play, scored.
Your first goal in that game?
First goal in that game, and it's Hines, Rick Hines, netminder. And then after I score, I remember, as I got up, I remember Brent Sutter,
Brian Sutter.
Brian Sutter, with those steely, dark, black eyes, kind of looking at me like he was a little late to just take my head off. And I think he probably would have, right? And I never saw the goal ever until this year. The guys, the production crew, grabbed the goal. We were in St. Louis, and they somehow found it, and they played it, and I've only seen it a couple times, so I still haven't got a good look at it, but they had it on video. Somebody said it's a black and white. Thanks a lot, guys.
Is it on film or kinescope?
Yeah. So it was good.
How tough was the jump from the OHL to the NHL? I mean, you're not a big man, and you said that in the past. You're not big. How much of a difficult time was that for you?
It was tough for me because, remember, I stayed at home in junior, so a lot of players, they went away at 16, 17, so that was growing up for them. For me, it was growing up going to Pittsburgh. So that was just an adjustment. Take the hockey away. Like, I was away from my family for the first time. They did put me with the team eye doctor, the Mallingers, but it was still different. I was lonely. I was depressed. Where are my friends? Where's this, that, and the other thing? Meals were different, and you know, they were great people, but it wasn't the same. And the team wasn't successful. I wasn't really scoring at a very good rate. You know, as you mentioned, I scored a lot in junior, but it wasn't happening in the pros. So I wasn't having a lot of fun, and it wasn't.
Did you have the Buick with you at least?
I bought the with my signing bonus. I got the Cutlass Supreme with the T-tops. It was maroon.
Yeah.
By the way, with the lettered tires, it was awesome. I loved that car until I hit ice with it. I was into that.
Now you play your first year there, and it goes somewhat decently for you. Team struggles.
Yeah.
But now Mario is on the horizon for this team. What changed when he showed up?
Originally, nothing really. I mean, the team still stunk, and I was down in Baltimore.
Was that very tough for you? Your first round draft choice 1 year, next year you get sent to Baltimore.
Oh,
What was a shock?
Yeah. You know, I played 16 games second year, didn't play much, picked up a couple of assists or something, and then the third year they sent me down again to Baltimore, and I just sat there listening on to the radio to the Penguins games and hoped they lose all the time. I just hoped they lost every single game. When I was 20 years old, 20, 21, I was hope they lose. Nothing against any of the guys, but I hope there's some injuries. I hope I get a chance. And I finally got that chance.
Now, what did Mario bring? I mean, did you get a chance to play with him on a line? Or, you know, he really, when you look at the size of him, and you see his ability, it's amazing to see with that size. It's scary. At times you sit there in the stands and be like, oh my God.
My first game in 84, 85, I didn't play the first game. I was upstairs beside Eddie Johnson and Bobby Orr in Boston, the old Garden. In the first shift, Miro scored.
Yes, he took the puck from Ray Bork.
Peters, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh God, no, that's unbelievable. First shift. So, I mean, I knew what we had here in Mario, and it was just a matter of surrounding him with character, good players. It was going to take some time, and as I was in Baltimore, and finally Ubriaco looks at me and he says, Pittsburgh needs a player tonight. Don't expect to stay long. So he says, Junior Ubriaco, the coach of the Baltimore Skipjacks, he's telling me don't expect to stay long.
You're gonna be there briefly.
Yeah. So I go up to the Holiday Inn Green Tree, stand at the Holiday Inn, and I remember looking up into the sky and said, "This will probably be my last chance. You got to do this somehow, Bob. You got to make an impact." So, first shift, they put me with Doug Shedden and Mario. I scored 2 goals in 14 seconds in my first shift of the first game that year, and that was that. That was the end of it. Although I had a chance at Mosienko's record. Shedden had the puck 2-on-1. 3 goals in 21 seconds. I'm trying to do it. He shoots the puck. Thanks, Sheddy. Had a chance at Mosienko 3 in 21 seconds.
Oh my God. What dynamic? You know, I've asked different guys about playing with people who are players who are just way above the ability of other guys. What was it like to play with Mario? I mean, he must saw the game at such a different level. I mean, did you have to bring your game up in certain aspects to keep up with him?
Yeah, I didn't know. They just basically give him the puck and go to the net. When I was able to play with him that year, he had 199 points. Rob Brown, tremendous talent on the right side. I just wanted to clean up our own end and get him the puck. That's all I thought about, and then getting to the net and trying to cause confusion or whatnot. I've never seen a guy that big, but that
ability.
I mean, just, you know, I mean, I played against Gretzky and he was phenomenal. I mean, he absolutely embarrassed me, and I played against Guy Lafleur's and that kind of stuff, and then Mario comes along, and it was incredible to watch the guy just do everything better than anybody, with people on his back, literally. I mean, you look at old videos of what guys were able to do back then. I mean, hooking and holding, and he would just swat guys around. Like, he was so sinewy but so strong at the same time.
Did you become a spectator every once in a while on the bench?
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can't. When you turn to some guy and go, I just can't believe he did that. Can you? I mean, it was.
You know, I was very fortunate, but I was fortunate to be able to play on teams with Steve Yzerman in the NHL, Pat LaFontaine in the NHL, Mike Modano in the NHL, Wayne Gretzky in the NHL, Mario Lemieux in the NHL. I was able to play with all of them. So I would count myself very lucky.
How was it to play with Gretzky?
He was at the end of his career in New York, and it was the end of my career, and I wasn't going anywhere. It was the end of my career. The Rangers stunk, and I felt bad for Gretzky to have to finish his career that way, but meeting him, I enjoyed his company a lot. I thought he was like one of the boys. much like Mario. I mean, Mario, like one of the greatest, funniest guys ever. Sitting beside him on the bus, and he'd tell me something, and he didn't want to, he wanted to say it, but he knew I was going to say it. So he'd say it, he'd tell me, I'd say it, and then he'd laugh like it was the funniest thing I ever said.
Now, you guys have a lot of up and down years in Pittsburgh here, and you're still going towards that goal, the Stanley Cup, and in '91, it happens for you guys.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? I mean, you hadn't OHL, you didn't win anything, but here you come into the NHL and you win one of the toughest trophies in all professional sports. What was that like for you when that happened?
Well, for me, it was huge because I went through all the ups and downs of all those years. That's what made it so special. So, like the fans that struggle with the team, or like myself, the Troy Loneys, the Phil Borks that have been with the team and the organization for so long, even Mario since '84, we put in our dues. I mean, we clawed our ways out of bad situations, and yeah, it meant an awful lot. I mean, that's what you dream of as a kid, is being part of that Stanley Cup or holding it. I still love the old pictures. Wherever I go and see Mario, and I'm kind of beside him, just trying to touch
photo bomb.
Yeah, trying and Paul Coffey, and just thinking. I just go back and think about all the great teammates I had back then that were all such a vital part. And even to this day, you realize that you need every player. Like, you just don't know what that big play is going to be. Like Randy Gillen on a delayed penalty, jumping off the bench because nobody was ready, scoring a big goal against the Washington Capitals. A huge goal, to put us up by 1, and we go on like this. Everybody plays such a role. It doesn't matter if it's 3 minutes or 30 minutes a game.
Now, Yager had come into that. Yarmir comes into that team. Did that change the dynamic even more that year when you guys went to the Cup? That's his rookie year.
Yeah.
But he was so phenomenal. He just took the world by storm. I mean, now you have to contend with a guy like Mario and a guy like Yager. I mean, was that just another tool in the shed for you guys?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we already had Ron Francis and Kevin Stevens and Mark Gretzky the first year of the Cup, and Paul Coffey, and then the list went on. Joey Mullen, and I mean, just think about all these great names. I know, Brian Trottier, you kidding me? And Herdina had already won a Cup in Calgary, and so I got to play on a line a lot of that playoff with Yager and with Brian Trottier. We're like third line, and Brian Trottier. I mean, and then one of the greatest players ever to play the game. And then Yager, who's now one of the greatest players ever to play the game. And I mean, but everybody knew their role, wanted to play that part, and yeah, there was a lot of going in against Minnesota in the finals. I mean, they did all they could to stop us. They had us up 2-1 in the series, but I shoe-shined Bob Johnson. That was it.
That's what I was going to ask you. What did Bob Johnson? He's a college. Here's a college coach coming into this situation with all this talent, and it was a phenomenal group of guys. And you're stacked everywhere you look. I mean, basically, he must sit there and just write down the roster every night. Go, okay, another win, or what kind of what did he bring to that dynamic for you guys?
He was like a father figure, a great coach. He could read the situation, assess everything every morning. He'd come in and, did you eat your oatmeal, Bob? Or did you walk your dog? Or did you go get your station wagon? At least these are things that he would actually say.
Yeah.
He would ask you about things away from take your mind off the game when he had to. Before the game and the pep talk, we'd have pucks all with our numbers on the floor on an ice rink that was cut out of the carpet. And he'd be moving pucks around, and you got to be here, and you got to be there, and he'd always have that pad of paper, and always rubbing his nose like this. And now I remember this till when he was sick. I remember going and visiting him and marrying him up in the hospital. But
what did that do? You guys, here's a guy. He gets the NHL. He's won national championships.
Yeah.
But now he wins the Stanley Cup, and he finds out he's sick.
Yeah.
How did you guys work through that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you work through situations like that. I was never good at those situations. I'd never really had to go through. That never happened to me growing up with those kind of things in my family, with somebody being sick, deathly ill, and those kind of things. So I didn't know how to deal with it. I don't know how you prepare for things like that. I still don't to this day, to be quite honest with you. But I knew that this man had given so much of his life to hockey. But hockey, I mean,
a great day for hockey.
It's a great day for hockey. It made you want to come to the rink. After all the years that I didn't want to come to the rink, the first 4 or 5 at pro, it became not fun anymore. The game was fun again, and I realized there was more to the game than just hockey. you know, and that's why, really, in the end of the day, that's why players play. Yeah, hoist the cup, but you got to enjoy being around the guys. You're a big family, and he was dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have more about Pittsburgh with Bob after this.